friends. My name is Steve, and this is Steve Talks Books. Thanks for coming by, watching my weekly update. It's where I talk about what I've been reading, what I'm going to read, what I won't get to, and everything else in between. I'd love to hear what you're up to this week. What are you reading? What are you watching? What are you listening to? I always like the interaction to hear how your week is going, so let me know down below what you've been consuming this week, what entertainment you've been consuming. If you'd like to connect with me, the best place is on our forum at pagechewing.com. It's where we have all of our events. We have discussions there. You can join any of the events if there's room available. So check out our calendar for anything else coming up. And if you do register there, I do have to approve your membership to stop the spammers from coming around and causing trouble. I can also be found on Vero at that one MFer. Yeah, I know. Or I can be found on Twitter at Steve Talks Books. So let's start with what I read last week. Last week I did read Leviathan Wakes. It's the first book in the Expanse series. We are having a group read for that series right now. We did have our meetup on Saturday to discuss the first book. Before starting the series, I had watched the entire TV series, and I was impressed with how well it was done in the first book and how close the live adaptation is to the book. There are some minor changes, but overall I think they did a great job, especially casting, because the actors who were casted for these parts were pretty dead on. There's a couple of very minor differences, but for the most part, they did a great job. I'm not sure who did their casting, but fantastic job. So the first book I thought was good. There's just something, I can't put my finger on it. Even after we discussed it today with some friends, I still can't put my finger on what it's missing. What it's missing from just being great. The characters are all good. I like the found family stuff. There's just something missing. There's just something missing that would push it over the edge to be like a favorite, if that makes sense. So I did enjoy it. We are continuing with the series. We'll be discussing the second book next month. If you'd like to join, there's plenty of room. If you'd like to join on stream, or of course in the chat. So after I finished Leviathan Wakes, I did start the Court of Broken Knives. Now we're doing a group read for this one too. We're having a meetup with Anna Smith Spark in September. Anyone's welcome to join that too. There are still some spots available. And in reading, I had flown through Leviathan Wakes. Leviathan Wakes is a really easy read, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just really easy. You just fly through it. It didn't feel like a 550-page book. It didn't feel like it at all. It was really quick, really easy, and then you go from that to the Court of Broken Knives. So I had kind of my foot on the gas pedal going into the Court of Broken Knives, and I had to slow way down because the writing in a Court of Broken Knives is a lot different than Leviathan Wakes. It's very descriptive, and I love the way the environments are described. This might be some of my favorite action. I prefer my action and my combat to be small, like quick. Most combat doesn't last for forever. It happens and then it's over. So I do like action that's quick and to the point. It doesn't go on for pages and pages. And but the descriptions and the visceral feeling you get from reading the action scenes in the Court of Broken Knives, I'm a big fan of. And I'm only 50 pages into the Court of Broken Knives, but it feels like there's a lot of substance. There's a lot happening. There's a lot happening. So far, so good. So after I finish that, I will be rereading The Darkness That Comes Before. We are having a podcast to discuss part 1 in that book. It'll be audio only. We have that scheduled, and I'll talk more about that in just a minute. So first, let's talk about what happened on the channel last week. It was a busy week. We did have Page Chewing with Ryan Cahill. I hope I'm not mispronouncing Ryan's last name. We had Taylor Made Between the Pages, and of course our friend P.L. Stewart. So all three hosts were on that one. It was a great time. Whenever we get together, it's always fun. I don't know what it is about that group. We just click. And with Ryan in the mix, it was such a fun time. My cheeks hurt after that one from laughing and from smiling. Just a really fun time. We went over a bunch of different topics. If you've seen that one, after we stopped the stream, there was a little bit more of this, some going back and forth. Just some joking around, but had a really great time, an absolute blast. Like I said, lots of laughs, really, really good time. And I do want to mention that Ryan wasn't feeling good that night. So right up until the time we went live, I thought we may have to postpone because Ryan wasn't feeling well. He pushed through, and now I think he's been suffering for a couple of days. So he really came through big for us. But I was trying to tell him it's okay if you can't make it. It's no big deal. We can reschedule. So really glad he made it. Had a wonderful time. Then on Wednesday we did discuss The God King's Legacy with author Richard Nell, our friend Mahir from Fantasy Book Critic, and our friend Josh from the forum. I've discussed every book that Richard's written with him, so I figured why not add this one to the mix. And it's always great talking to Richard and talking to Mahir and of course Josh. So it's funny because we had scheduled this ahead on the calendar, and Josh is a constant poster. He's active on our forum, and he messaged me and said, "Hey, can I join? Do I need a channel?" I said, "No. Here's a link. I'll see you there." And it was great. I love that. I love that when people just want to show up and hang out and talk about books. So that was really great because I love making new friends and hanging out with people and hearing different perspectives. And Joshua did a great job. It was late for him, and it was his birthday. He lives on the other side of the world, so it's always great talking to that group as well. So on the Friday conversation, we did have author Mike Schell. Taylor jumped in a little bit late, but she made it, and of course Dave and Olive from Book Blather. We discussed a ton of different topics there as well. Just I'm sure those of you who have seen the Friday conversations have an idea that it jumps around quite a bit. But I did want to pick Mike's brain about writing characters with trauma because that's his wheelhouse. Professionally, day to day, he knows a lot about that. So I wanted to pick his brain and get some readers' perspectives on trauma, PTSD, what works, what doesn't work, that kind of thing. Then on Saturday, we had the discussion for Leviathan Wakes with John from Hey Y'all Listen Up, our friend Layla, and Robin from Bookends and Biscuits. Robin's new to she jumped on the stream with us to discuss it, and we have like a big circle of people who come by, and I love when new people come by to chat with us and to hang out, and just like I said, just hearing different perspectives, making new friends. It's just a lot of fun. So I'm glad that Robin was able to make it. She lives on the other side of the world too, so it was late for her. So thanks for staying up late with us to discuss it. It was a great time, and I always walk away from these discussions with a different perspective on something. It's something that gets you thinking about things from different perspectives, and it makes you kind of rethink what you thought you understood, or just different angles on things. I love that. That was a great discussion. There's some things that Layla brought up that everyone brought up, but there was a couple of things that Layla pointed out that I thought was very interesting. I won't say what it is here. I don't want to spoil it, but gave lots of things to think about. So if you've seen that, you may know what I'm talking about. But yeah, lots to consider. So this week on the channel, I have a review probably for Negative Space coming up. It's a book I really enjoyed, and I want to get a review out for it. I also want to do a video about why I prefer physical books over ebooks. Just a preference. Nothing's wrong with you if you prefer audio or ebook. It's just my preference. I know some people get a little upset about that. We all have our preferences, but I just wanted to make a kind of like a fun video of why I prefer physical books. And it isn't, I have this big mess behind me. So then on Friday, for the Friday conversation, we'll have friends Yolene Reeds, Taylor from Made Between the Pages, and special guest AP Canavan, aka A Critical Dragon. I love picking AP's brain. He's so knowledgeable and full of information. It's such a great time. So I'm going to have lots of questions for AP on Friday, and he's staying up late with us too. So I really appreciate when people, move their schedules around to hang out with us. So really looking forward to that. It's gonna be a great time. Then on Sunday, we're having my buddy read of We Should Have Left Well Enough Alone by Ronald Malfi. It's a collection of short stories. I've been reading that with my friend Lady Jane Books, and I'm not sure what channel that'll be on, but we'll have a discussion for each story in that one. Not sure which channel it'll be on just yet, but I'll let everyone know when that's happening. Be sure and check that out. I also wanted to mention, I did have this on the community tab, but I was interviewed by Bookcasts for their July e-magazine. It was a quick, like a quick interview, like a text interview, but I don't get asked to do that kind of thing very often. So, when I do get asked, it's really, really neat. It gives me a chance to kind of show appreciation for everyone and to shout out people that have been a big influence on me, have been supporters. And so it's really neat that anyone asks. So it was a great time doing that, and to see that in an e-magazine, that's really cool. So really neat. Check that out, and I'll leave the link down below. You just click on it and you can either save it or just read it as a PDF. Also coming up, speaking of interviews, I've been asked to join Saturday nights on Mike's Book Reviews channel. So I will be one of the guests on that on the 30th of July on Saturday night. So I was over the moon about that too. It's really, I don't get asked to do that kind of stuff very often. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Still a few weeks out, but I've been too excited to not mention it. So also on the podcast, I started reading a short story every Saturday for Short Story Saturdays. This Saturday, I did post my reading of The Message by Michael R. Fletcher. It can be found in a collection of obsessions. It's a very short story, thankfully, because that takes me forever to edit and to record, and I'm never happy with it. But I love that story, and I asked Michael if I could read it on the podcast, and I'm catching up on my backlog. I have a bunch of stories that people have sent me, and there's a few long ones I want to get to, but I need to get a few more shorter ones under my belt, because it takes me a long time to edit like a 6-minute audio reading. It takes me a couple of hours, so it's a big time investment, but it's been fun. So I also wanted to mention we do have the Darkness That Comes Before podcast. That is going to be on Friday, July 29th. Let me cheat. 29th. We do have some people from all over the world who want to join, so we had to get creative with the time. But it is at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is audio only. If you want to join, you don't have to be on camera. You don't have to even have a camera. Just a working microphone. I will be using StreamYard, but it won't be posted on anywhere. I'll just get the audio from there, and then post the audio after. And if you are interested in that, just RSVP in our forum and save your spot. There's some spots left, but it may fill up. So jump on there. We are only discussing part 1 of that first book. We're going to kind of see how it goes. We're going to discuss, focus on part 1, and then gauge from there how often we're going to meet, how much we should cover when we do meet, that kind of thing. So I hope to continue doing this throughout all the books, all of this whole series, and maybe the next trilogy too. So I hope it works out. It's kind of a thing I'm trying. Hopefully, fingers crossed, everything works out well. Also, I have mentioned this before, but we are having a group read for Empires of Dust by Anna Smith Spark. It's a trilogy. We are having a discussion with her in September for the whole trilogy. There will be giveaways for people who participate, and there are some spots left on the stream. Of course, check our forum if you'd like to join and reserve your spot, or you can just interact with us in the chat. You can just mark your calendars and be ready for that one. That'd be a lot of fun. So every week I'd like to shout out a different BookTube channel, newer channels who are doing a great job, that just want to give people a boost because it really helps out. It helped me out a lot, and it still continues to help me out a lot whenever someone mentions me, says something positive about me for some reason. So I would like to return the favor to other people. So this week I want to talk about a newer channel that I found, and that is Thriller Book Reviews. Just a few weeks old, so just getting started, but a great, positive, fun channel that I just found. Go check out the channel, watch the videos, give a like, comment, subscribe if it's for you. It goes a very long way, just a comment or a thumbs up. It really helps, especially when you're first starting out, because it can feel like you're talking into the void and no one's there. Also want to mention that we did watch episode 7 of Stranger Things on Saturday, and thankfully I said during that video a few weeks ago that episode 1 wasn't my favorite, but I did say I hope it gets better, and it has gotten a lot better. It continues to get better every episode, so yeah, it's been really good. It's maybe my favorite season, and we're not done yet. but it's doing some really interesting things. And I'm surprised, because these series that they have an idea and the idea runs out of gas after a while and it just kind of like sputters along. I'm sure we can all think of a TV series like this that we've really enjoyed the first, the initial idea and the world they build, and then that kind of wraps up and then they just keep pushing it, trying to do different things, and it just doesn't work. I think they've done a really good job that, keeping this idea going and keeping it interesting. And, I think season 3 wasn't all that great, but I think they've done a really good job keeping this idea moving and keeping it interesting and feeling fresh and new and not forcing it. So kudos to them, to those creators, because I think they're doing a really good job. And that's not easy to do. I bet that I'm sure that's not easy to keep it going. So yeah, I've been impressed. So my question this week is about adaptations. And this comes up because of our discussion with Leviathan Wakes. We did, some of us had watched the TV series and some of us hadn't, and it was interesting to see the different perspectives on people who had watched and who didn't watch. For me, I did have a different perspective on some of the characters. I understood them a lot better, and I had a different view on them. So it's always interesting to me how our brains process that information. So for you, if you're going to watch or read a story, do you prefer the book first and then the live adaptation after, or do you prefer the adaptation and then the book? What is your go-to, or do you have one? And if you do, then why? I think for me, I usually like to read the book first. I'll read the book, and then I'll watch the movie, and then I'll complain, or the TV series, and then I'll complain about all the things they got wrong or they changed. And that's why The Expanse is a little unique, because I wanted to read the books and I just kept putting it off, and then they these big huge chonkers of these books. So I figured, this new TV series, everyone's talking about how great it is. The family wanted to watch it, so we started watching it, and looking at all these books, these massive monsters of books. I thought, well, when am I going to read those? I'm just going to watch the TV series and enjoy it. But I liked it so much that I wanted to read the books. So I did it backwards this time. So it's interesting to see what the differences are. When we absorb it, which order, that kind of thing. So let me know what order you prefer, if at all, if it matters to you. Also, I had another question. Talking about physical media, I've noticed something about myself, that if I am confident I'm going to enjoy a book, and it's a series, let's say it's a trilogy, and I'm confident I'm going to enjoy it, like I have a really good feeling about it, if I if I buy the book, most of the time I'll buy the whole series, because if I'm confident I'm going to like it, what I worry about is the books not matching. Sounds silly, I know, but I think some of you can relate to me. Someone out there can relate, because I don't want the books to be different sizes, be different editions, not look the same. I like them all to be on the shelf and all match. Am I alone in this? Am I the only person who does this? This has bitten me before for another series that I bought a big box set from and DNF'd it. Some of you may know what I'm referring to, but so there are times I strike out with it. But overall, I've been pretty lucky that most of the time, if I have a good feeling about it, I'll buy all the books, and then I feel good that they're all going to match. Because my fear is that I will like the story, and by the time I get to the first book and want to buy the other ones, the covers and the designs and everything will change, and then I won't be able to get them matching, and then I'll have to go find them somewhere, used or whatever. So is that silly? I don't know. Am I the only one? Let me know down below. So that's about it for me. It was a busy week. Work especially was very frustrating. But what are you going to do? So I hope all of you are doing great. Let me know down below how you're doing, what you're reading, what you're watching, what you're listening to. I always love to hear it. I know time is precious, and all of our lives are busy. Thank you for spending a few minutes of your day with me to hear about my week, and I like to hear about your week. So let me know down below what you're up to, what you have going on, what do you have planned, anything special happening. It's been so hot here lately that it's just been hard to get motivated to do much outside. So it's been kind of rough, and it's been like monsoony, and so it's humid and miserable. So, I'm looking forward to fall. I'm ready for fall. I will leave all my links down below if you'd like to connect with me. I always love to hear from you. I hope you all have a great week, and I will talk to you soon.